We're here for part 3 of Amanda's amazing fascia update after 1 month using block therapy.
Yep.
We have some more exciting stuff to share with you. And I'm going to screen share because we forgot one thing about Amanda's picture in part 2. So tell us what you noticed about this picture because it is significant.
It is. And I'm sure that I'll see more improvement, but it's that I'm actually getting an arch, which is crazy because I'm not trying to consciously stand in a way where I'm standing straighter. My feet have always pronated in pretty significantly. I've had flat feet. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, just like a month ago, my husband was outside washing the car, and so the concrete was wet, and I stepped in it because I was like, let me see if my feet are as flat as I think they are. And then I would step in a dry spot and just completely flat, no arch whatsoever. And then he did his and he has an arch. And I'm like, man, my feet are terrible. So I noticed that little foot in the background, and I'm just like, I see that gap. And I was like, I'm getting an arch already. And again, it's just crazy because the part where you work on the arch of the foot, where you're standing on the block or, putting more pressure on the block, even if you're not standing completely on it, I did it like maybe twice. So maybe 6 minutes in a month. And so to get an arch is super exciting. And I just wanted to point that out.
That is really exciting.
And
Part
I
of
can
it
see the
has,
booty curve on that one is like, and it's smoother.
oh, it's always good to have the booty curve in the right way. That's always good. But
Yep.
as your foot changes, the arch is going to change, the alignment's going to change, the feet change everything. You're going to feel so much better, even just walking through your day. It's going to be a great improvement with the feet.
I'm excited. I've always had so many feet problems, so.
Yay. All right. We have one more screenshot to share.
And this is something I didn't notice. And Miss Kelly was like, I got to show you something really cool and exciting. And I was like, show me, show me, show me.
I told Amanda, I always like it when people have birthmarks, freckles, tattoos, whatever it is, because you can literally see things move on your body through this work with block therapy. And so I pulled this up to show her because she has this birthmark that she says she's never liked.
Correct.
But if you measure her, look at her knees, first of all, they look so much different. But I tried to draw a right angle, like from this ridge of her knee, you can see it right here, up straight and over to that birthmark. And the significant thing to me is the distance between her knee cap and her birthmark. In the after picture, it's quite a bit higher. It's also moved in from her, or moved around toward the front from her inner leg.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy to me that there's that much more space between the birthmark and my inner thigh. It's like everything, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like kind of rotating back to where it should be. And then it's also lengthening, like it's not nearly as compressed or squished. And again, that is not an area I have ever directly put the block, ever. I've done the upper thigh, but it's been on the like above, like right below the groin in the high upper thigh is where I put the block, never right there. So yeah, that was really crazy.
It's crazy. And I like it because you think things that are where they start, where they're supposed to be, like a birthmark or a tattoo, you either have them on your skin or you get them put on your skin in a very specific location. And you don't think about those things moving.
Right.
And I have seen tattoos like rotate from one part of the leg to another part of the leg. And now this birthmark, and I know it's a very small movement, but in relation to that space right there, the length is significant. The length from here, the height from your knee to that birthmark. That is significant. You just
It
think
is.
about
And you can see less grips too.
all this
So
crunching right here.
it's as if
Oh,
somebody took this leg in the after and just squished it like this.
yes.
That's what you would have.
And so I'm excited about that because our thighs are so heavy, they're so crunched, they're so dense. And when
Dense,
we
yep.
can see that tissue migrating back to where it needs to be, it's freeing up all those lymph channels, circulation, nerves, just everything in that leg is going to be different when the tissue is where it's supposed to be and not congested. And so this is a win for you, a big win.
Lots of wins. Winning.
Even if your birthmark goes in a more visible place,
I
still
know it wants to be front and center
it
instead of
does.
hiding on the inner thigh.
At least now you can like celebrate it. It can be like a symbol of victory over that lipedema in your leg right there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
So
Amanda, tell us a little bit about your journey and what else, what has it been like? What other things have you experienced that maybe didn't necessarily have to do with your physical body? Which is a weird question for a physical therapy that we're doing to your body for fascia. But
correct. So it's going to be a loaded answer too, because there's a lot. Like, I actually about a year or so ago, maybe a little bit longer, wanted to start working on my nervous system. I realized that, because I've years of doing like conservative care for the lipedema, I was just like, wanting to be on this healing journey. And I'm not saying by healing that you can completely reverse everything, but like all these chronic conditions that we have, but healing is in getting myself to the best version of myself that I can be. And I came to realize that you actually can't heal your body if your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight. And just, researching that some more, I was like, I've been stuck in fight and flight for who knows how long, probably decades and decades, like, and probably why I have a lot of these issues. So then I was like, I got to focus on my nervous system. And I've been trying to do my best. I do struggle with consistency, and especially when I want to add in so many things. But I have been making some little tweaks and habits, blue light blockers, getting sunlight, just other things to help work on my nervous system, red light therapy, and so forth. And I was starting to notice some improvements, but I actually realized, I think it was on one of Deanna's calls, or maybe you said it on your last call, where um, your nervous system can't get out of fight or flight when your fascia is so tight and you have adhesions everywhere. And so you don't have that lymph flow, you don't have your nerve, because everything is intertwined together. And I was like, okay, wait, I thought I had to get down to the base, like work on my nervous system. But now I feel like the base of where we need to start treating is the fascia. And when you start working on that, you're helping your nervous system, you're helping your lymph flow. Like I actually am getting, I don't think you can see them too much, but there's indentations right here. As you can see, I don't have them here yet, where everybody, you pump your lymph right here. It's very congested there, but it is starting to clear here. And so I have some indentations, and that's just from, I think, all this fascia work is starting to help my lymph flow better. So a couple other things that I've noticed is I'm sleeping better. I do struggle with getting enough deep sleep, like when I actually monitor it with my watch, but I'm sleeping more soundly. Like I'm not having, the middle of the night wakings. I'm just kind of sleeping all through the night. So that's really been nice to sleep more consistently. But one thing that kind of caught me off guard that I wasn't expecting was I think it was a couple weeks in. I'd been doing it for a couple weeks. And, Kelly's been great about keeping in touch with me and how are you doing and what's going on? What are you noticing? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of melancholy today. This is a couple weeks ago. Just I feel kind of like Eeyore, this like low mood. And I'm not like that. I'm like animated and happy and bubbly, and that's typically my personality. And so I just felt really like kind of low. And I said, I kind of feel like I need to cry, but I can't. Like it's just not coming out. And I'm not a crier. I don't cry often at all. I think the last time I cried was few years ago, probably. And so my sister also has picked up this block therapy because of being on the call with you and just being inspired. She's like, well, maybe you need to go like lay on the block and like maybe tears will come out. And I was like, maybe. So I go get on my bed and I put the block between my sternum and I'm just laying there and you're just focusing on your breathing and tears just started to flow. I've never been that person. Like I've had fascia work before, massages. I had the Bowen therapy, which body work works on the nervous system and all these things where they tell you, okay, now like you may have some emotional releases. And I'm like, I doubt it, and I never did, but I just lay there and I was like sobbing and, like my body's shaking. I'm like, I don't think this is great because I'm not getting a full breath, but I did need to get out those tears. And so then I let my sister know and Kelly know that I cried and I've never had any kind of emotional release before with doing the block therapy. And I actually have a feeling that I'll probably have some more, as like we get to deeper adhesions and things like that and stuff all the way back from my childhood that I never properly dealt with because I do feel like there is trauma and things that I've never dealt with and addressed. And I was always kind of becoming aware of it over the last few years, but like, how do I help this? Like, what do I do to get these emotions out? And so it's just things are happening without me trying, right? Like simply just like laying on the block and breathing is affecting my nervous system and it's letting out some emotions that were trapped. So that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, I don't know if you want to shed any more light on that.
One of the things I love about block therapy is the more we learn about fascia, like in science, the more research that's done. They do have research now that supports the facts that fascia stores trauma and fascia stores emotion. And so whenever we are fearful or we have some kind of traumatic event, and it doesn't have to be like trauma with a big T, because when you're a child, a lot of things can feel like trauma with a big T. When you're little, you don't regulate emotions the same as you do when you're an adult. And so a lot of things that happen when we're a child, they kind of stick with us. They become these defining moments. And it doesn't have to be some catastrophic event. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. But that can get stored in our fascia. If we had an emotional upheaval or we had an injury or we had anything like that, it can get stored. And then we grow up and it's still there. And every way that our fascia builds from that point, it's built on that trauma that's stored right there. And so we can grow up and it's still there and we're not really aware of it. It may not even be like a trauma with a big T where you're thinking, that significant thing that happened, that's affecting me as an adult. It could just be something that you're not really aware of. But once you start releasing that fascia and you go layer by layer by layer, it's not only like the physical threads of fascia that go back to where they're supposed to be, but it's those emotions that can settle back into where they're supposed to be. And the negative ones can be released. Sorry. And I feel like it's so significant because I have a degree in psychology. And so my training was you have to talk this all out and it has to be a thing. And you have to do all these things to be okay. And I found with block therapy, yes, you may have a couple of days where you're like, I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel whatever this negative emotion is after I did this blocking session or in the middle of a blocking session. And then you're okay. And you may not even know why you have that deep seated emotion coming up, but you can release the emotional with the physical, just like you can release it in a different way by like talking through it and trying to figure it out. And for me, even though I have that degree, I overthink and overthink and overthink, and I tend to get all wrapped up in it. And one of the great things for me about this is you don't even have to know what it's from. And it's not some hocus pocus, like weird stuff. It's just when we get scared or when we have an emotional thing, we like brace.
Mm-hmm.
And in that intake of breath, in that moment, like our body freezes. We have a little frozen moment stored in the fascia from whatever that was. And so it's not like some weird mumbo jumbo something. It is like a literal physical reaction and a moment frozen in time. And so when we can unfreeze that, we also can let go of whatever that negative was.
Well, I had some insight because before, when I was just having that melancholy mood, I'm like, I don't know why I'm like this. It's not a gray overcast sky outside, which is usually what brings my mood down. I'm like, I see the sun. Why am I feeling this way? And I didn't know what the emotion was. And then as I laid there and I started crying and I'm sobbing, um, I don't know what it was, but just like it came to my mind that that feeling, um, a lot of it was rejection that I was feeling. And that is a big thing that comes from my childhood. I won't get into details, but that is a huge, huge part of my childhood that I deal with is some major rejection. So that was, yeah, that was one interesting thing that came up. Um, is the emotions and then the better sleep, but also I'm just feeling pain relief, like overall pain relief. Like I said, the neck pain that has impaired my mobility, the shoulder blade, my right shoulder blade has had a specific, I mean, like I could show you with a pencil if I could reach, like it's this spot right here. It's been one spot for decades, probably like at least 30, 40 years, because now I'm 51. So it's been there for a long time. And I have done everything to try to release that. Tools, massages, like you name it, I've done it. And as you saw in my before pictures, there was a little spot that looks like it's a bruise up there. It's not a bruise. I found out from asking the doctor, somebody was looking at my back. I'm like, what is that? People have said I have a bruise there, but it never goes away. I broke a cluster of blood vessels there, like little capillaries, from digging in so hard with tools and balls to try to get to whatever was causing that pain and just to get some relief. I would dig as hard as I could. And um, not only did it backfire with now what looks like a permanent bruise, but it also just actually set me back. It caused everything to kind of like lock up more and like made my neck worse and all that by digging. I found that with doing this block therapy, I have found that my cause site is actually my upper ribs, like right underneath the breast. When I had the block there, I was feeling that referred pain. So the block is there under my breast, but I'm like, it's triggering. I'm feeling like somebody is literally taking the knife and stabbing it into that shoulder blade right where that pain is. It's referring back there. And so I told Kelly afterwards, I'm like, I think I found the cause site for the shoulder blade pain. And it was like right in the center too, but also like we do a time where we place it on the right side and then we place it on the left side and then on the right side. I do still feel it on the side. So it's kind of like all across there. Um, for some reason it triggers that shoulder blade pain. And also I can kind of see it when everything has been pulling forward and like hunching forward. So, right, it's connecting or like kind of I'm collapsing in and it's getting those adhesions there, which is like pulling on the shoulder blade area. And the fact that I was, leaning more towards the left side and that side was lower, everything has been higher on the right side. Anybody who's ever worked on my body, massages, bone therapists, etc., have said your body is higher on the right side of your back, like all the way across. And I'm like, I feel it. Everything was more tense there. She couldn't even get that area to release with the bone therapy. She's like, you are just so tight here. And I was like, well, how do I fix it? Because she said like something in you is just not ready to release. Like it's locked and it's just hanging on. And me, I just want to, when I know a problem, well, let's fix it. I got to fix it. And everything I was trying to fix that back never worked until I'm starting to do the block therapy and work on the body and relaxing and learning to breathe properly and breathing into that block. So I'm learning so much.
I'm so glad. I'm glad for all of the positives that you've had, even through your Eeyore days.
It was only two. It was only like 2 days.
It's 2 days.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that you've had the results that you've had. And it's only been 30 days. I mean,
Yep.
all the things we've talked about, it seems like it should have been months.
Yep. I
But
agree.
it hasn't. And so I'm very excited for your journey. Very excited that you've made so much progress. And I can't wait to see what happens in the next 30 days.
I know.